All right. I'm going to call to order the Rancho Mirage Regular Planning Commission meeting of September the 25th, 2025 at 2 p.m. And Jason, will you lead us into the flag salute, please?
Yes, please stand, everyone. Place your hand up to your heart. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chrissy, may we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Agostini,
Present.
Commissioner Beal,
Present.
Commissioner Gray,
Present.
Vice Chair Bryant,
Present.
Chair Chanter. And we have a quorum.
And may I have a motion to approve the absence of Chair Chanter, please?
I will so move.
May I have a second?
Second.
Excuse me, motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Next will be the commissioner comments. Start with David.
Thank you, Acting Chair. I'd just like to welcome all of the participants and visitors to the meeting today. I think it's always great that we start off with the flag salute. While some of the statements in the flag salute at times to me seem more aspirational than current reality, I think we are one nation under God, however we see it, and indivisible, and hope that everybody will keep that in mind during the course of the proceedings today. Thank you.
My comments. One thing I want to point out is the newsletter that comes out weekly, the Rancho Mirage newsletter. As we come in the season, as traffic increases, I reviewed that and I noticed there's street slurry going on, so watch out for traffic throughout town. The other big thing coming up, October 9th, is the Shred Day. So just a great resource that we have here is to our residents of Rancho Mirage.
Austin?
No further comment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Well, first, this is sort of the new season of hearings, so we look forward to a lot of hearings this year. And also, it's nice to see a large group of people here. I wish really that every hearing we have and every planning city council hearing, a lot of people would show up, because that's really the essence of a good city and a democracy when people participate. And regardless of their opinions, we know that everybody doesn't agree on everything, but it's important to have participation by our residents. And so welcome everybody. I do want to let you know there will be ample time for public comments of items not on the agenda, as well as items on the agenda. So I want to start out with a little shout out across the street. Duke's Deli just opened this past Monday. Unfortunately, they had a fire a year ago, and it took them an entire year to get going again. But it's a great little place, very nice people, very hardworking. And I was, on Monday, I was the first one over there lined up to get my favorite chicken salad and coleslaw. So I encourage you to go over there and help them get going again. So our next item is the approval of the minutes of June the 26th, 2025. Are there any commissioner questions on it or comments? David, start with you.
I have none on the minutes.
No comments here.
None here.
Austin, none? And I don't have any. Chrissy, do we have any cards for public comments on the minutes?
Yes, we have one. Brad Anderson.
Sir, would you state your name and residence?
Of course. My name's Brad Anderson. I live within the city of Rancho Mirage on Forward Drive. I just wanted to bring attention, I guess, to this board, this commission. I'm sure you're aware, but the minutes are inaccurate, the written minutes. My statements were not presented, and my stances were not taken on public hearing items. And this is critical because even on the speaker form, you have in favor and oppose, but if it's not going to be recorded in the minutes, the written minutes, it's senseless to even, I guess, you have this on the speaker card. This is a great change. I'm not going to lecture you. You already know that the city has changed how they record the minutes, or they don't actually record public comments of the public now. Just so everybody knows that they speak today, they will not be recorded into the written minutes of the city of Rancho Mirage. So hopefully you can adjust that, because it's critical that the historical actions of this commission and its residents, me, be recorded accurately and for future generations. And it's not. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other?
No, that was the only speaker.
All right, thank you. Then if there are no more commissioner questions, comments, or public comments, I'll ask for a motion to approve the June 26, 2025 regular Planning Commission meeting minutes. May I have a motion
Also move.
and a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
You know, I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty just on this particular item as far as putting in a vote. Can we just do a voice vote, please? Could you restate the motion, or who made the motion?
This is Commissioner Gray. I made the motion to approve the minutes.
Commissioner Beal seconded.
Thank you. And I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Agostini,
Approve.
Commissioner Beal,
Approve.
Commissioner Gray,
Approve.
Vice Chair Bryant.
Approve.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we move into the public hearing, the only one today. It's item 4A, minor conditional use permit, case number CUP 25-0007-69640, Highway 111. The applicant is the Islamic Society of the Desert. Consideration of a place of worship located at 69640 Highway 111, APN 674-490-042. Ben, may we have the staff report, please?
Yes, good afternoon, Planning Commissioners. Before I begin my presentation, I want to clarify a few points regarding the project we are about to discuss. Firstly, a house of worship is a permitted use in the general commercial zone with a minor conditional use permit, which is what is being considered by the Planning Commission. No zone change is required for a house of worship use. There is an existing ministry, Koinonia Life Ministries, which is located adjacent to the proposed mosque within the same zone, general commercial. The ministry is west of the project site, and the Jewish Federation is east of the site. The ministry was approved by the Planning Commission in 2021 with a minor conditional use permit as well. There is no new construction occurring, only minor interior changes to the existing building. No exterior changes are proposed other than repaving the existing parking lot, installing new landscaping, and fixing any exterior issues on the property that are currently boarded up. And per state and federal laws, the city can't discriminate on the basis of a religion or religious denomination. So I'll start my presentation. The project site is located within an existing 9,032 square foot commercial building on a 1.37 acre parcel that was originally built as a Black Angus restaurant near the intersection of Frank Sinatra and Highway 111. As previously mentioned, no physical changes to the site or building exterior are being proposed as part of this request, other than typical property maintenance. The current project is a use determination to establish a mosque for the Islamic Society of the Desert with ancillary uses. The proposed mosque is designed to serve the western half of the Coachella Valley, since there are currently no mosque or Islamic religious facilities within this area. All events are to be held indoors and no outdoor amplified sound will be used. In addition, a landscape plan was provided to enhance existing landscaping on the project site. 10 new 36-inch boxed rosewood trees are proposed in addition to 26 Chihuahuan sage shrubs. As conditioned, the project meets all municipal code regulations. These are current photographs of the existing building, and no exterior changes or additions to the building are proposed as part of this request, other than building maintenance. Staff would like to add the following additional condition of approval to require a minimum of 4 handicap parking spaces prior to building occupancy. Various written public comments were received after the posting of the agenda, which have been distributed to the Planning Commission. Staff at this time recommends that the Planning Commission, 1, approve the filing of a notice of exemption pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, Section 15301, Class 1 for existing facilities, and 2, approve minor conditional use permit case number CUP 25-0007, subject to the conditions of approval and with the added condition and based on the content and findings in the staff report. That concludes staff's presentation, and at this time I would like to invite the applicant to say a few words to the podium. Thank you.
Let me begin in the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Peace be upon you all, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Ayub Ilyas, and I'm a colon and rectal surgeon. Right, I work at Eisenhower Hospital. I'm not a religious scholar, I'm not a public speaker, and my area of expertise is a very different one. I specialize in robotics and colon and rectal surgery. If you ask me to speak about it, I'll talk to you for 2 hours nonstop. I'm passionate about it. But on a lighter note, being a colorectal surgeon in the community, I've been here for about 5 years. On a lighter note, again, I know the community more than many of you. So I'm very comfortable talking to the community. And I've been a surgeon for about 20 plus years in my life. And as I venture deeper into science, the more I see the role of religion and God. Just this week, I was doing 6.5 to 7 hour surgery on someone, taking a tumor from a very critical aspect, pushing limits, doing it robotically so that our patients get the best outcomes. It's a very challenging procedure. But even though I control every step of the procedure, I always believe in divine help and the healing power. We do the surgeries, but the healing is by God. For me, faith is very personal. Why do I say this and I bring my profession into this is because making the right clinical decision for my patient, not 99% of the time, every time, 100% of the time, either before surgery or during surgery intraoperatively, it's a big burden and I feel it. So I go to the mosque for clarity, for peace, for strength, so that I make the right decision for my patients and for my community every time. Every time. When I first joined Eisenhower, I had to drive all the way to Coachella to attend my Friday mandatory congregational prayers. My manager, who's not a Muslim, she saw my situation. I was rushing between my patient during lunch break. My manager worked with the hospital so that we could do the prayers in the chapel in the hospital. That meant a lot to us. But it was a small space, only a few of us could pray. Since then, we arranged our prayers in another temporary facility in Palm Desert. And then we decided that because it's a small place, over time we need a place for ourselves. So essentially doctors, 4 and then later 5. 2 of them are surgeons, 3 of them are other primary care practice physicians in the community. I actually wanted to call this as a doctor's mosque, and I thought it's mean. Don't do that. I did tell them, why don't we call this a doctor's mosque? Between the 5 of us, just want to give you how much we mean to the community. I'm a subspecialty surgeon. I don't see a lot of patients. At the maximum, I might see less than 100 in a week. But between the other physicians and the surgeons, they establish multiple other, their establishment, they have multiple other providers. They see more than 1,000 patients from this community, from Rancho Mirage, from Palm Desert, and other adjacent cities in their establishments every week. And they've been here for more than 25 to 30 years. Fortunately, unfortunately, my friends who made this, they're all partying in Europe now, leaving me alone here. Well, anyhow, when we found this spot, which we are talking about it, right in front of the city hall, between the Jewish Federation and the church, this is how we felt it. We felt right away. It symbolized exactly what we believe in. Different faiths practicing side by side in peace along Highway 111 Frank Sinatra in front of City Hall, right in the heart of Rancho Mirage. So what will this mosque look like in practice, right? I need to give it to you. It will be quiet. No changes to the existing structure, like Ben mentioned. Our community is small. Mostly physicians, nurses, engineers, professors. We have 2 astrophysics professors in our group. Few businessmen and women, some retired members, you've seen them here. We normally congregate about 40 to 50 people on Friday afternoon for our mandatory prayer. Like with every other religious group, people don't show up for regular prayers. They just come for us, like Christians who show up for a Sunday Mass only, like they come only for Friday prayers. Daily prayers are much smaller, usually a few of us, sometimes 1 or 2 even. So we don't expect big numbers, nor do we expect any noise or parking issues. I think our parcel has more than 100 parking lots, around 95 or whatever. So I can tell you one thing. We will probably be the most boring neighbors you could ask for. People come in for a few minutes to pray, reflect, and leave with peace of mind. This building was once a restaurant, but now it has the chance to serve as something even more meaningful. A place of tranquility, a place that strengthens community ties, and a place that will add to the diversity and the spirit of the city. Imagine a church, a federation or a synagogue, and a mosque all next to one another, all visible from City Hall. You could not have scripted this any better. That is not division. That is unity. That is the beauty of Abrahamic faiths. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, side by side, each honoring the same God, each worshiping in peace. I'll leave there. Thank you for listening, and thank you for everybody, Ben and everybody else, for considering our project. Happy to answer any questions. Mike may add some.
I don't have a great resume like he does. My name is Mike Hawk, and I've been in the desert for about 20 years, living and working here. Between my time in the military, my career in real estate, I've always been committed to projects that helps the desert grow and connect everyone. And that's always been my passion. And I mentioned to the city staff in the past that we're looking forward to do other projects in the desert that's going to be even more helpful in the future beside this particular project. We have worked closely with the city staff throughout this process, and I want to thank them for all their hard work. You guys have done a tremendous amount of work at educating us on this process, how to move forward, and what steps to take in order to make sure it is all done properly. And also, thank you for your recommendation of approval. Every requirement the city has set has been addressed from parking to landscaping, compatibility with the surrounding areas. But beyond meeting those requirements, this project is about the community. The mosque will serve as a welcoming place for the families, a space for worship, gathering, and connection that reflects the values of inclusivity and belonging here in the desert, especially in Rancho Mirage. I simply note that city staff has recommended approval because the project meets all findings required for a CUP. We're proud of this work that we put into this project and this application. We trust in this process and also trust in all of you. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Chrissy, are there public comments?
There are, but first, Jerry Keller also wanted to speak as part of the applicants group. Is he here?
I get 3 minutes or a minute 30? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. My family and I own that building, and we are very comfortable with what's happening. A lot of the points that were made that I was going to make have been made already by the staff and by the preceding speakers. Quiet, non-obtrusive, wonderful place to be. Where we live is a Shangri-La. It's, as we all know, it's beautiful. These wonderful people work at Eisenhower, saving lives, doing things every day that are very important. Very capable, well-respected staff. I think for our valley, they are extremely important and valuable, but there's a couple of other points I want to make. At Eisenhower, they train a number of doctors and nurses, and when they graduate, when they get ready to leave, many of them leave for bigger cities where there's some job opportunities and many mosques to pray in. I think this mosque, being so convenient and quiet and beautiful, will help to convince them to stay. Take these trained people who Eisenhower has spent a lot of money to train and keep them here, because they'll have a wonderful place to pray nearby, a small, beautiful community. That's really important. So keep these people who have spent years training and not have them go other places. Really, really important. And equally as important, the word will get out that this Shangri-La with a wonderful mosque 10 minutes away is a wonderful place to work. There's a huge shortage of doctors, nurses, engineers in the country and the world. This could be a wonderful way of getting these very talented people to come here. Eisenhower is continually looking for solid, qualified people. This will help immensely. I think that's really important for all of our health, because I think all of us have benefited from Eisenhower in a minor way or a major way. I know they saved my life. So, growing up in New York and Brooklyn and Long Island, I see the Hasidim. I see how they live and how they have to have a place to walk to work, to worship. The same thing with the Muslim people. So I'm really very, very happy this is happening. When we first heard about it, we thought, isn't this a wonderful place? The building has a high ceiling, it's comfortable. So we felt very happy about it. I think basically it will be a tremendous value for the valley in many ways. I think throughout the country now, there are many religious groups working together, Muslims, Jews, Christians, to work together to show that this country is an inclusive part of the world and all religions can practice and be comfortable with each other. This, I'm very sure, will happen in this microcosm with the Jewish Federation and the Muslim mosque together. I'm so sure that it will be a wonderful relationship. I want to read something that my daughter sent to me. If we are at all religious or spiritual people, we must be willing to embrace what all scriptures guide us to do, which is to love our neighbors and to love ourselves, to be good to our neighbors who are or who are not our family. The term faith also represents faith in one another. One of the things I love about our community is the spirit of calm, warmth, welcome, and stability. Our reputation has drawn many U.S. presidents and many other important people to live here, in this particular city and the Coachella Valley. We can and always be at our best, even during the most challenging of times. We can set an example by living up to a well-earned reputation and being a positive model for others. In closing, there's a phrase I think we all know well, and it applies beautifully here. Be the change we want to see in the world. Thank you so much for your time.
So, Chrissy, now, public comments?
Yes, the first speaker is Bettina Riddle.
No, I'm going to say the 3 minutes. And, ma'am, so be sure to state your name, where you're from, and there is a 3-minute time limit on each person speaking.
Perfect.
We have quite a few people who want to speak today.
Yes, of course.
All right. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Bettina Riddle. I currently live in Cathedral City, but I'm born and raised here in the desert. I grew up in La Quinta. And for the last 30 years, I have seen this desert grow tremendously. And it's a desert that I've come to love. This mosque in Rancho Mirage will offer a wonderful addition to the continuing growth of our desert, especially in the diversity of our and my home. Diversity makes our communities better. The positioning of this mosque between the Jewish Federation and a Christian church as neighbors will foster a beautiful example of interfaith conversation and peace. The more we get to know our neighbors with curiosity and celebration of our differences, the stronger and richer our lives become. And I have seen that in my own life here in this desert, becoming friends with my neighbors who have had different faiths, different experiences in our lives. And I think welcoming and supporting our fellow desert dwellers is a beautiful example of that connection. Thank you for seeing the value in the diversity of our desert and cultivating the safety and freedom of religious practices. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mohammed Haq.
Hello. I'd like to open with the very common Muslim greeting of Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you, and all of you that are gathered here. I greatly appreciate your time and consideration. And while I wasn't prepared to come today, as you could probably tell by my attire, I begin with a prayer. And that prayer in Arabic starts with Rabbi Shrah li Sadri, which basically was what Moses used to say, Lord, expand my breast and allow me to be effective in my speech. And I call on this prayer from Moses to remind us of our unity, of our similarities and our diversity and the beautiful upbringing we have in America. I, like many of us, am a first-generation immigrant from Bangladesh originally. I grew up in Queens, New York, and I'm proud to say I've been in the Valley since 2018. I'm a registered dietitian. I've served in all 3 of the hospitals in the Valley, and it is truly a struggle to get out of work for an extra hour on top of that hour of worship. That's 2 hours, right, in a very busy workday as a clinician. Furthermore, the Muslim community is not limited to clinicians, right? We are indeed engineers for Caltrans. We are indeed business owners. And we have law enforcement in the back. And I really want us to think for a moment, has any house of worship ever done anything but good for a community? I feel very strongly that the Muslim community needs to expand and feel comfortable here. Like the gentleman said earlier, it's not only for Eisenhower, it's for the development of the city. In the last 7 years, especially with COVID, I've seen a huge boom in our development. And I would love the opportunity for our Muslim community to grow and prosper and serve this community as Muslims should. It would be a great honor to be next door to a Christian church and a Jewish synagogue, and really just symbolize all of the beautiful things in this country rather than the negativity. I thank you very much for your time and consideration, and I pray and I hope that we do indeed extend this masjid, this mosque, and our community. Thank you very much for your time. Take care.
The next speaker is Alan Goldstein.
Alan Goldstein. I'm married to Mary Levine. We live in Morningside in Rancho Mirage. My wife and I moved to Rancho Mirage in 1996, and we've been in love with it ever since we came here. The beauty of this place is that most of our people work and play well together. We are known for taking care of our residents and our businesses. That is one of the reasons we're rated one of the best cities in the state of California. This cooperation was clearly demonstrated by our city when we put it to a vote for the CV link, which is supposed to run through it. There were over 1,200 votes, and it was voted down by 81% of the residents. We laud the work of the City Council and the Planning Commission, and thank you very much for all the efforts that you put in to what you do for us. However, there are many conflicting opinions on this proposal. There are a number of contentious issues, which it is the possible traffic jams that will be created on Highway 111. This is supposed to be, and I looked at the website, it's supposed to be also a community school and a community center, so there could be a lot of cars coming in and out. Currently, there are no religious institutions on Highway 111 in Rancho Mirage. I might add that one of the reasons the CV link was rejected was that there were a lot of traffic on Highway 111 causing congestions. Certainly, we welcome all religions in our city, but a place like this might be best in a less congested area. My suggestion is to replay the CV link vote scenario on this and let the voters decide, which would take a lot of pressure off of our City Council and Planning Commission, and which would show that everyone has a voice in our city. No one could possibly be accused of anything such as clandestine, secretive, or otherwise behavior. Please put this on a ballot and let's take this to the people. During season, when the majority are here, then everyone will feel good about our community. I thank you for listening to me, and I wish you all well.
Abdul Jalil Osam Kumle.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today and address the public hearing. So I live in Palm Desert. I'm originally from Nigeria. I lived about 5 years in Los Angeles, where I worked as a lab manager at the University of Southern California. My interest in advancing my career brought me to the Valley. So currently I work as a chemist at the Coachella Valley Water District. So anytime you open your tap, so always remember that we are behind the scene, keeping the community safe by providing you with good drinking water and also ensuring that the environment is protected. So when I came for the interviews, I think in June or July 2024, I decided to move around. I went to Palm Desert, I came to Rancho Mirage, I went to Coachella Valley. One of the reasons that gave me the assurance that if we live here with my family, that will be okay, was the opportunity that we had a small place, to worship. The other alternative we had was in Coachella Valley, which is a little bit farther away from work, So currently I live in Palm Desert. I need, somewhere very close by, where we could worship and, feel welcomed, in the community. So these project is very important to myself, to my family. And also I believe there are other professionals out there, foreigners trying to, find somewhere to, to live and work. So I believe an approval for this project would give us, an additional assurance, to live in the valley and worship and go by our businesses as much as possible. So I see myself as a public health professional, because of what I do, trying to keep the water clean, keep the environment safe, and all that. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to to address you, to talk to you, and we look forward to an approval of the project. Thank you.
Molly Ann Thorpe.
Good afternoon. My name is Molly Thorpe. I reside at 3 Terrace Place, Thunderbird Heights in Rancho Mirage. As a 22-year resident of the city, I've always deeply appreciated that our civic leaders put the safety and well-being of our residents, community members, and guests first, making this the very best city in our valley in which to work, recreate, and reside. Thank you for this opportunity to speak before you today regarding the approval of the petition by the Islamic Worship Center to establish a mosque on Highway 111 in Rancho Mirage next to the existing Jewish Federation of the Desert building. Our First Amendment guarantees some of our most precious rights, including the freedoms of religion and assembly. I'm a congregant and board member of the Jewish congregation Harel, which a number of years ago participated in an outreach visit to the current Islamic worship site in Coachella. It was a very meaningful experience and an opportunity for two religions, often portrayed as enemies, to meet and begin to establish a connection. What could be more meaningful than to establish a positive nexus between two groups that are often perceived as at odds? Respect, friendship, and coexistence could prove a wonderful model for others to emulate. I am concerned about the location of the proposed worship center, its close proximity to the well-established Jewish Federation of the Desert. Due to the many threats and aggression towards Jewish institutions, the Federation must have armed security to protect its employees and event attendees. Unfortunately, we are living in dangerous times. Never before have we witnessed such crazed, demented, and psychopathic hatred towards those who only want to show reverence towards their religion. The assassination of Charlie Kirk is the most significant example of this since the tragic assassination of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The October 7, 2023 massacre in Israel by the Palestinian Islamic terror group Hamas slaughtered, raped, and took hostage innocents attending a music festival, families, the elderly, and babies residing in the kibbutz nearby. Nearly 2 years later, we continue to advocate for the release of these hostages held in unthinkable conditions by the radical Islamic captors. Should the Islamic Worship Center's petitions for their mosque occupancy be granted, it will be the city's responsibility to ensure the safety of both of these religious entities, as each have undergone public scrutiny for decades and center at controversy. I do not fear the responsible citizens of our community, but rather I worry about a deranged outlier motivated by the hate spewed so easily within recent months. How tragic it would be for either of these entities to be targeted by some crazed lunatic. As the city of Rancho Mirage contemplates this very important decision, it is my hope that you'll take the safety and sanctity of both the Jewish and Islamic members of these two institutions seriously and proactively prepare to ensure for their welfare, safety, and protection. Thank you.
Jim Greenbaum.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jim Greenbaum. I'm a resident of Rancho Mirage and a proud member of the Jewish community here in the Coachella Valley. Over the decades, I've been privileged to serve in this community as a member of the Board of Directors of Eisenhower Medical Center, 32 years of service on the Betty Ford Center, and as president of the Jewish Federation of the Desert. This valley is my home, and its well-being is deeply personal to me. I'm here today to speak in favor of approving the permit for the Islamic Center of the Desert to convert the former restaurant into their newest center. As a Jew, I know what it feels like to be a minority in this country, and I also know how deeply meaningful it is to have a place to gather, to pray, to celebrate our traditions and safety. Having the Islamic Center next to the Jewish Federation, it's not a threat. It's an opportunity. It's a chance for us to live out our values of diversity, coexistence, and love of neighbor in a very, very real way. I understand that some of my own community, members of my own community, feel anxious about this project, and I appreciate the concern. But we have to move on. But fear should not guide our decisions. Inclusion, understanding, and respect should. Approving this center sends a message that Rancho Mirage is a city where people of all faiths are welcome. And that is a message we can all be proud of. Thank you for considering this request and for helping us build a community rooted in dignity, peace, and mutual respect. Thank you.
Henry Bates.
I actually live in Palm Springs, but I manage rental properties in Rancho Mirage. Rancho Mirage has got almost a worldwide reputation as being a very quiet and safe community. It's astounding to me. I hear from people from Quebec, Canada, people from France. They're telling me, you're Palm Springs, you live next to that wonderful Rancho Mirage. So, anyway, my thought on this is I'm not in favor and I'm not opposed. I believe good things come to those who wait. Good things come to those who wait. And I think with the world conditions that they are right now, with all the shootings that we see, all the craziness that's going on in the world, the fights in the Middle East, et cetera, around the globe, that why bring something in to all that, into Rancho Mirage, which is a very safe, quiet community? So I'm not opposed. I'm not in favor. I say wait. Wait until things calm down. Wait until things calm down. Thank you.
Allison Hyman.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for all the work you do for the community. Lived in Rancho Mirage this time for about 8 years, and it's a wonderful experience, so thank you. My name is Alison Hyman, and I live directly up the hill from here. And I'm quoting here. The intersection of Frank Sinatra Drive and Highway 111 in Rancho Mirage has been noted for a high rate of car accidents, including a recent fatal incident involving a bicyclist. Factors contributing to these accidents include heavy traffic and reckless driving behaviours in the area. I know from personal experience the recklessness and dangerousness of the driving there, as many cars have run the red light at that junction in front of me every day, as it's my only route to Highway 111. Personally, I have 3 close neighbours, literally in my street, in a matter of a few years, who have been in serious car accidents there, all requiring hospitalisation, one for a long period of time, all getting their cars totaled. One neighbour this year, coincidentally an employee of Eisenhower Hospital, was out of work for months, is still recovering, broke loads of ribs, has got metal all over him. And then when he was driving his new truck, because he bought a big truck, it was rear-ended again. On January 1st this year, I think it was January the 1st, we actually witnessed a fatality when a cyclist was unfortunately killed, and it's horrific. And I'm sure many of you that work in this building have experienced how dangerous that crossing is. You've put up lights, you've tried to fix the problem, but it is a serious, serious problem. All this is to say that a building like any house of worship, or any other building, perhaps a theatre or whatever, would materially increase the traffic, where there would be a large number of cars at different times of the year, different times of the day, and I truly believe that it's not safe and that it would add further risk to all these already many, many accidents. And so I would ask you to seriously, as you're the planning committee, to seriously consider that issue, because it is a matter of life and death. Thank you.
Rick Stein.
Hello, I'm Rick Stein. I've lived in Rancho Mirage about 22 years. I've been out in the desert longer than that. I'll just have some brief comments because I have very good feelings about every religion and every person I've ever known. I'm that way, but I know that the decision that this court has to make, or this commission has to make, has to be based upon reality. It has to be based upon very solid thinking. And I'm very concerned, notwithstanding all the good things everybody said, and I don't disagree with them, about the Muslim religion and about everybody getting along. But if the mosque goes up, and if later something happens that we know is very, very much a possibility, some violence comes from the mosque to the Jewish Federation, or in this area where there's, as the last speaker said, we're very crowded. It's a very bad act, I believe, to approve it, because the mosque can go anywhere. And we're not trying to say the mosque can't be anywhere. We all love Muslims and everybody else. That's not the issue. The issue is, what kind of problem are we creating if we put a mosque right there where they want it, next to the Federation in one of the busiest intersections in the valley? Thank you.
Brad Anderson.
Good afternoon. My name's Brad Anderson. I currently live within the city of Rancho Mirage. And I wanted to speak on this item, 4A. It's a public hearing item. And my stance is really in support right now, because I think this planning commission has no choice except to approve this and push it off on city council and see what they do with it. That's what I want to see. And but I guess a couple points I would like to bring up is I know with the river, when that was going through its debated or approval process, there had to be a plan for security and kind of like a shopping cart thing where you had to keep everything together. And so not that the city can do that or maybe just suggest maybe some kind of security plan for that area, because I wasn't aware of all the religious activity in that area. So maybe that is a concern, and maybe the city should be involved in that. And on the plan itself, I never saw any signage, anything about the signage. So that's something probably is going to come about along eventually. That could be an aspect, not that really matters, but I think it should be addressed sooner than later. That's, I guess that's really all I have. I just want to remind everybody that's speaking today that in the minutes, the written minutes of this meeting, more than likely your opinions and your stances opposed or in support will not be noted. Thank you.
Jeffrey Burt.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Burt. I'm the head chaplain and director of spiritual care at Eisenhower Health. I've been in this position for 2.5 years, and during this time, I've seen my Muslim colleagues, doctors, nurses, other professionals, most of whom are part of this proposed center, make devoted daily use of our interfaith chapel. These are honorable, hardworking professionals. And while we're happy to host these good folks in our chapel, it's wonderful that they have this opportunity to have their own worship space. And so I just want to speak my support for this proposal. Thank you.
Yasmin Fazli.
Hello. So I'm Yasmin Fazli. I'm actually one of the resident physicians at Eisenhower. I'm in the family medicine program, and I'm in my last and final year. I was not somebody who lived in Coachella Valley before. I'm from Orange County, which has multiple establishments of different religions, including masjids, which is where I would go with my family. I was part of the Islamic community there, and it was really nice. It actually helped get me into medical school because it brought me a lot of guidance. When I came here, I did feel very disconnected in my first year because there wasn't a place that I could go to pray. But even then, the Muslim community here and the Christian community, the Catholic community, the Jewish community, the Buddhist community were all very welcoming. They helped guide me to a small group of people who would pray in certain locations. Eisenhower, just as we heard, I've prayed in their chapel multiple times, and it's nice. It's nice to feel like the place that I am actively getting my training, helping hundreds of different people, multiple diseases. I don't think twice about the people that I help. The only question I have is, how do I get better? How do I make sure they get better and not get sick again? So that when they come see me in the primary care clinic, we can just talk about how good their dog is or their grandkids. It would be really nice to be able to also have a place that I could pray for my family and future grandkids. Coachella Valley is a very growing place. I know transportation is a concern with accidents. However, this may not be what people want to hear, but it's inevitable that this place is going to be filled with people. It's a great place, and people are finding Orange County and LA very expensive. And just like how they all moved to Bakersfield and Riverside, they're going to keep moving farther out, which includes Coachella Valley. Regardless of this mosque being put up, Highway 111 is going to get packed, but just like humanity, we are adaptable. I hope Coachella Valley can also be adaptable to this mosque. Thank you very much.
Osama Ahmed.
Good afternoon.
honorable commissioners and members of the community. My name is Imam Usama Ahmed. I serve as Imam or the religious leader for Muslim community in Coachella. Our mosque is located in Coachella. I'm here today to express my full support for this Islamic Center. In my experience working with families, children, youngs in our area, I have seen firsthand how important it is for our community to have a safe and a safe place for worship. By the way, the mosque is not only a prayer place, but it's also a place where young people come to learn values. Families find support. Also, Muslim and non-Muslim alike come to encourage interfaith dialogue and to understand each other. By the way, mosque is essential for reinforcing religious identity and keeping connection with God and providing righteous role models. It's also, mosque is against bad behaviors and drugs and such things. So today, I'd like to say I truly believe that the approving for this project will not benefit not only Muslims, but also the city of Rancho Mirage as a whole, to encourage peace and education and to work together, understand together, to understand between Muslims and Christians and Jews. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you so much.
Joel Johnson.
Good afternoon, members of the commission, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joel B. Johnson. I am former consumer fraud construction advisor to the city of Los Angeles, and I have been involved for the past 46 years in development of various projects in the desert. I reside at number 5 Serrano in Rancho Mirage. During the course of my experience of the past 35 years and as counsel for ore builders, we have been involved in building, remodeling, and constructing more than 5 major religious facilities, churches, and synagogues in the desert. Have appeared in their behalf before the city councils all the way from Palm Springs, Indian Wells, to Indio. Common responses, applications, and recommendations have been, we are a desert community, we are a resort community, the appearance of Highway 111 is sacrosanct, and various concerns have been with regards to denials, consistent denials for religious facilities, churches mainly, or synagogues, on the basis of the following. There's expansion. As counsel of the California Medical Association, I highly respect everything I've heard from you wonderful people at Eisenhower, representing physicians for 50 years. My heart goes out to you with regards to everything you've professed.
Sir, I'm sorry. Could you speak into the microphone, please?
Although you have 40 or 50 people at this time,
thank you.
There may be 100 to 200 to 300 new applicants in future years. The concerns of the cities and commissions have been, hey, expansion. We have requests for expansion. We have requests for remodification. We have requests for things that no one ever anticipated. It would be wonderful to have a mosque that could hold 250 people, just as a synagogue. And my comments are made with respect to the fact that Monterey Avenue, Fred Waring, Ramon Drive, and other major streets having great thoroughfares have been the recommended
locations for various churches who have followed those suggestions, and this might be another recommendation at this time. Thank you.
That was the last speaker card. Is there anyone else who would like to provide public testimony on this item? That was the last speaker.
All right, as there are no more public comments, commissioner comments, David, start with you.
Thank you, Acting Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who made a comment today. My personal attitude tends towards cynicism and seeing the bad. Maybe that's a professional sacrifice that I make as an attorney that often has to see the bad and figure out a way to make good out of it. But tonight, or this afternoon, today, I heard most speakers talk from a place of positivity and faith. Whether they were on either side of this particular issue, everybody seemed to contribute their testimony in a positive and respectful way, and I'm grateful that that has happened thus far. I have a number of questions and comments relating to the presentation and what I heard. I will say at the outset, I think our role here as members of the Planning Commission is somewhat limited. We are supposed to determine whether a particular application or project falls within the guidelines that have been presented to us that hopefully we know from our time on the commission and that will also been shared and presented to us by staff. And I'll say in advance that reviewing all those guidelines and looking at this application, it appears to me that it is one that should be approved and that I will be voting in favor of. But I do still have some questions and concerns before I finally vote. So for one thing, I like to do some additional study sometimes on matters that are before us. And one of the things that I did is I went to the website for the Islamic Society of the Desert for this particular project. And I might ask the applicant to come forward because I hope that you could address some of these questions that I have. The first question is that it appears from the website that the website represents the current mosque, or masjid, I think is what you call it?
Masjid.
Masjid? Sorry for my pronunciation. I have trouble with English.
That's all right.
All right.
I can see that.
The website seems to represent it as operational, and my understanding is that is not the case, or am I? What is it?
No, right now we pray at a place in Palm Desert. It's an urgent care. One of the suite belonged to one of the founders of this. We converted it into temporary, what we call a masjid, but it is not a full structure. It's one suite, about 1,000 square feet building. So that is what it is. This website was not totally done professionally. You have to understand, these are 5 doctors trying to pull it off. We are good at something else, not at this. So that's why in the upfront I said, I wanted to literally call this doctor's mosque so that, less scrutiny about it. But that's what it is. That was built by somebody who works in Mercedes-Benz who he thought he can pull off a website, and we pulled it off. And then I did end up paying for him, but then again, I think it needs to be refined. That's not finally upset. So the bottom line is there is a temporary structure in one of our founders' building within the compound, one of the suite. We use it to pray, particularly on Friday afternoons. And we do think that that is smaller for now. That's why we've been looking for this for about 4 years. And we did find, strangely, about 2 years ago, we similarly found another place technically in between another church and a synagogue in Monterey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Monterey. So, I don't know, this has been a repetitive pattern for us, but, we couldn't pull it off because that was expensive for us.
So, and ultimately, this is a related question, is the approval by the Planning Commission and ultimately the City Council, is that the last impediment to you closing on the purchase of the building?
Yes.
That's what I suspected. One thing that I noted in the staff report talks about continued maintenance and operation of the building. And also from your website, which I understand was somewhat amateurish, it indicates that there's been $650,000 raised towards a $2 million operating budget. What happens if you can't close that gap and raise the additional $1,350,000?
I can be honest and open about it. We have taken individual loans on all of us. Individual physicians have taken, because this organization is very young and very new. And I'm sure no bank is going to give a loan to the organization. We have a not-for-profit status, but this is essentially 5 doctors putting money from their pockets into it, just so that these doctors have been lived in this valley so long. Some of them want to keep their kids who are doctors who have completed residency to come back and join their practice. We all have nefarious reasons to do this. One of us is to keep this going in the desert.
Okay, appreciate that response. I had a question, again, also covered in the application to some degree on the website, that about the call to prayer, which I understand is 5 times a day, is that?
So the call to prayer is within the building, within the area. Even if you stand outside the door, you will not be able to hear it. Even let's say you are in the restroom within the building, you may not hear it. So let alone you hear it outside. You know, we have to differentiate. The way we profess faith in different parts of the world is different, because we are expected to adhere to the local laws and rules. So even if you within the restroom, within the building, you may not hear the call to prayer. That's how noise level is going to be. That's how boring we're going to be.
Well, boring, I hope not. I hope it'll be more inspirational. Another question, and I think somebody touched on it, but without asking the question directly. I know there are 99 parking spaces. What is the occupancy limit of the building? Does anybody know that?
I think initially when the restaurant was there, at 384, that was occupancy. That was what we saw.
So that would be substantially less than the current anticipated occupancy.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, and this is for staff. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Were there any objections or comments filed by any adjacent property owners that were notified of this application?
Not that staff's aware, but there was a 1,000-foot mailing radius that was sent out as part of this application, and the public hearing notice was posted in the Desert Sun as well.
All right. I'll say 2 final things in closing. I haven't heard anything. This isn't one of them, but I haven't heard anything that changes my conclusion that this is an application that I am compelled under the law to approve. One speaker, I don't want to single out anybody in particular, but one speaker I found particularly ironic today, because I don't know if everybody fully knows the history of the Coachella Valley in general and Rancho Mirage in particular, and this might have actually been before Rancho Mirage was incorporated as a city, but there were institutions throughout this valley that banned people from certain backgrounds and certain faiths. There's some that did not allow African Americans to participate, and many that didn't allow Jews to participate as members either. Happily, through the evolution, as I see it, of our society and the enforcement of the Bill of Rights to our Constitution, most of those restrictions are now gone. But to hear someone speak against the inclusion of a faith that they may be concerned about or feared, but coming from a place that used to ban people like them from living in it, is astounding to me. I think that we have to put aside any personal fears or prejudices we have and welcome new neighbors and hope that an interfaith dialogue helps decrease all of the hatred and violence that we see throughout the world. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Jason?
So I want to
excuse me, agree with a lot of what David said. Most importantly, having resources for the community, not just for families, but community members, leaders in our community, having outlets and opportunities. It's gonna, where there's one speaker mentioned, I think she was a medical student coming. That's what drew things like that will draw more people to the valley. So we're a valley that's growing, and we have to make the right decisions in that growth. And part of that is supporting community and families and educating the youth and giving them the opportunity to continue what we've already established here in a great city of Rancho Mirage. So I think I agree with a lot of what David said in that we're reviewing the project in itself. We're not debating a lot of the prejudices or biases, but I don't have any reason or need, or I don't see anything that would be outside of what was presented to us by staff here today.
All right, thank you. Austin?
On the whole, I think it was commendable. The amount of mutual respect that was displayed amongst most of the speakers today. One general thought that crossed my mind listening to everybody speak, and there was a theme of concern around traffic. This was a steakhouse previously, or a restaurant, correct?
The building was designed as a Black Angus steakhouse in the 80s, and I believe it was a steakhouse until 2012.
And so, being a restaurant, it's reasonable to expect an increase in traffic around 5 to 9 p.m., generally speaking. And I think one of the other speakers mentioned that the occupancy for the building was north of 300. And so I think any argument that there's going to be an increase at level of traffic at this building is unwarranted. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Austin. As a prelude to my comments specifically on the project, I look at that strip along there from the other side of the car dealership down, and on the right-hand side, what we call the cove in there where Rancho Mirage is. That is the entrance to Rancho Mirage. At this point, to be blunt, it's an eyesore. And one of the goals of the city is, and someone mentioned Highway 111, is to make Highway 111 from one end to the other, as well as other streets, as many of them we have, Morningside Drive, Frank Sinatra, from 111 to Bob Hope, so on and so on, to make those boulevards and really make them a wow. So when someone comes into the city, it leaves a really good impression because people are coming to this valley. They're looking at other cities. We are in competition with other cities to get people and businesses here, and we want people and businesses here. And so I want to say 2019 or 20, on the Cove side, as you're coming from Casino City, the right-hand side, that land up against the Cove, we recommend approval for a condo hotel units, a couple buildings of commercial. But as part of that was great landscaping along there, so that area, again, would create a wow when you came in. And on the other side of the street where these buildings are, they're old buildings, and so as things come along, it's our opportunity to improve the drive. So when all things either change or whatever, the left-hand side of it is going to look just as good. So we have to think about decisions we make today and what it's going to look like in 10, 20, 30 years all over the city. And this is one of those areas that definitely needs to be approved. Could the applicant come up? I do have a couple of questions. Mike, it may have been you. I'm not sure. Yeah, thank you. And David, you asked a lot of questions that answered some things for me about the structure and the viability of the entity. Has your charitable, your 501c3 or whatever it's going to be, been formed? Do you have your IRS letter?
We do, yeah.
You do?
It's a not-for-profit, yeah.
Okay, all right, good. I did read your business plan, your 9-page business plan, which is helpful, so thank you for submitting that. And I think, David, you touched on it. Do you have the assets now to complete the purchase as well as to fund the ongoing operations? As you know, when you have a 45-year-old building, I know because our house was built in 1980 and it's a constant, you always have to put money into it to keep it up. And do you have the funds to sustain that? Because there will be not only conditions up front, the paving, which is a disaster, the landscaping and so on initially, but to be able to maintain that. And because if it's not, of course, you'll have code enforcement knocking on your door every day.
Yes.
So
the simple answer is yes.
Okay. All right. And one of the reasons for asking that, the last time I looked, there are approximately 200,000 nonprofit charitable organizations in the state of California, plus or minus 10%, depending on where you pull your numbers from. And so being involved in charities, being on boards of various charities for the last 30 years, fundraising, it is not easy when you're competing with 200,000 other charities. And of course, we know this valley is a very charitable organization, and I have no idea how many charities there are in this valley, but there's quite a few. So, it is a daunting subject, and that is a consideration. So we'll take your word for it that you have it, and I think you noted that a number of the doctors are ponying up, and they're willing to put their own personal funds there. That's always a good sign. So thank you. That's my questions for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so I'll turn to landscaping, one of my favorite subjects. And David, we'll let you deal with the cactus in 3 feet of the sidewalk and Mina's favorite crushed big jagged rock. Okay, you can deal with that. I won't even touch on it. Okay, promise. So Monday, this last Monday morning, I did go over there again and drive around, took about 30 pictures and looked very carefully at every piece of the ground over there. And there are a lot of conditions, trees, landscaping. Mina did tell me that the strip along the front, the sidewalk area, and the strip along the back is a common area. It's an HOA, and the HOA is responsible for that landscaping. Is that correct, Mina?
Correct. There's property management out there that maintains that portion.
Okay. So we're asking the applicant to do a lot of landscaping, bring the pace up, probably the irrigation system, so on, all that sort of thing, and planting. But those strips are deplorable. And in the back along the wash, there are many dead trees that are just fallen over, dead brush, and it looks terrible. And I understand that's the common area. So hopefully we can get something done on that soon. And as far as the dead brush and dead trees, even though it's the HOA, I don't know why the applicant with their volunteers go out and cut down the dead trees, get rid of it, because it's actually a fire hazard along there. But I would hope we would push the HOA to get that upgraded as quickly as possible. One of the things in there, it mentioned, I think, condition of 10 trees, 36-inch box. I did walk around there and look for plantings. I actually think it ought to be about 20 trees. They don't have to be all 36-inch box. It could be 24-inch box, the other 10, but I don't think 10 trees are actually going to do it. The palm trees, it makes note, there are some current robustas there, the real tall, skinny ones. Ben, would you bring up the picture of that and show on there?
The presentation's pulled up here.
Okay. just to show it. Can you bring this one up?
Oh, that one.
Right here?
Perfect.
Showing the palm trees there. So I think it's saying that planting more of these type of palm trees, the robustas, it would be much more aesthetic to put some foliferas, the shorter palms in there, rather than just more of these really tall, because these things don't do anything to kind of screen, soften the building mass. As an easy example, Desert Springs Resort, I'm sure you all know it over there. That was built in '86. It's basically a box. The architecture is not that great, but when you look through there and they have all those date palms and it softens the building mass, it makes a totally different kind of statement. And again, it's not only for this building, but it's for people driving along. We're trying to create a boulevard effect, and so the buildings and all the landscaping do make a difference. So I would recommend that rather than more robustas, those palms that are there, they put in foliferas or the folifera robusta hybrids, which they're shorter and the crowns are higher, and then put some trees around there, and it would have that effect. Their condition is 4 handicap parking spaces, and given the numbers, is that actually sufficient? I know it meets code, but again, I would ask the applicant to think about that. Are 4 handicap spaces sufficient for their congregation, if they know their congregation? Are there any plans to repaint the building?
As far as the applicant has expressed, they're not proposing any exterior changes. The only exterior changes that are going to happen are the repaving of the parking lot, the additional landscaping, and any building maintenance that needs to happen with some portions of the building being boarded up, but no painting and no signage are proposed.
All right. If they do repaint, does that have to get approved? I know over the counter doesn't have to come to us, but is that an over the counter? Does it have to come to the building department or anything for the code? Obviously, signs do. I understand they're going to take down the sign, and they're not going to have a sign at this point.
So they would have to submit a minor mod application to the planning division. It's not an over-the-counter review, but it's approved by planning staff.
Okay. All right. And on the interior, there are no structural changes on the interior?
That's up to the applicant to determine what type of building improvements are going to be required on the interior, but they would need to submit the appropriate building plans and apply for building permits for any changes that would require that.
Okay. Being that it was a restaurant before, there's a full-service restaurant, commercial kitchen there. They're not going to operate it as a commercial facility, of course. They're going to use it for their congregation that comes in. But because it is a commercial kitchen, it probably hasn't been used in a long time. Are there fire and safety issues that they have to have permits? Someone's got to go in and make sure the hoods are right. They have the things you can press the button and the fire retardant comes down, all that sort of thing. When you have, is that going to have to be approved before they get an Oxney permit?
So we do have a condition of approval. It's condition of approval number 15, that the applicant shall ensure that all Riverside County environmental health requirements are met for any use of the kitchen. In addition, as part of our typical use and occupancy process, which is required before somebody can obtain a business license to occupy a building, they would require inspections from our building and safety division, fire department, and then as well environmental health.
Okay. And in there, I believe there was a September 26 deadline for certain improvements. Clarify that for me. Who is that? Is that for the applicant?
So along the property's Highway 111 frontage, that strip of land is managed by the association. So it's not under the control of the applicant. We have been in contact with the property management for the area, and they do have a plan that they're working on to improve the Highway 111 frontage for those buildings, but that's something that's in the works. So we added a condition of approval to have those improvements done within a year.
Okay, thanks. And then my last comment, I would like a condition that they put security cameras on the outside of the building. I think it's important given all the things that are going on in this world, not just, how many times we're seeing these people that are ramming into jewelry stores, 15 people are going in, it's all over, and although we live in basically a safe place, it can happen anywhere. People get murdered on the streets in Beverly Hills, so I think it's important, not only for this facility, but other things that come along, that they have exterior security cameras, not only for their own security, but I also read almost every other day that a security camera on a building actually caught something going on outside the property, which would enable law enforcement to track down and find out, catch the people or whatever, and it had nothing to do with someone doing something to the building. So I do think that's an important issue, and I'd like to make that a condition of our recommendation for approval.
Commissioner Bryant,
Yeah.
if I could maybe make some comments about that potential condition. It'd be staff's recommendation that you don't make that a formal condition.
Okay.
There are no municipal code requirements that support that condition.
Okay.
Perhaps it can just be verbalized as a recommendation for the applicant to consider that.
Okay, all right.
And then if I may add to that too, attachment number 5 in the staff report, the project description, page, I believe it's 9, they do have a brief mention on security there, and security cameras are mentioned there as well.
Okay. So Isaiah, you can send me to the corner, put a dunce hat on me, make me write on the blackboard 100 times. I will not make that recommendation in the future. So thanks for pointing that out. So I will withdraw saying it was a condition, and it's just a thought. It's something that I think is important. So are there any more commissioner comments on this? Nope. Then I would call for a...
Before you guys vote, just wanted to note that this is a minor conditional use permit.
Right.
And so if the Planning Commission approves this today, you are the final approval. It does not go to the City Council.
Okay, all right. Then I do want to make one more comment, and our Public Works Director is here, and Assistant City Manager Ryan. It's been brought up about traffic on 111. It is not great. It's going to get worse. So as a city, we could not have any more development. We could stop all development of any other property along 111. That might be one way to stop any increase in traffic. That's not going to happen. But one person did say as rational people, we do have ways to try to mitigate certain things. And I know that's something that the city does look at in terms of the traffic lights, the speed, and all that sort of thing. And it's going to be a continuing issue. I think this particular facility is not going to draw more traffic than, say, the restaurant that was there with a seating of 300 and some people. It's not going to draw more traffic than that. So that's just the fact of life that we're going to have to be careful of in the city as far as traffic along 111. So with that, then I will ask for a motion on this agenda item.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that the Planning Commission, 1, approve the filing of a notice of exemption pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, (CEQA), close parens, Section 15301, Class 1 - existing facilities, and 2, approve minor conditional use permit case number CUP 25-0007, subject to the conditions of approval with the added condition and based on the content and findings in the staff report.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, so it is approved. So at this point, we will conclude the Planning Commission hearing.
Excuse me. We still have non-agenda public comments.
I'm sorry. Sorry. We still have, that's right, we moved to the last non-agenda public comments. Does anyone have anything to speak as far as not on the agenda at this point?
I do have one speaker card from Brad Anderson.
Okay, all right.
I don't see him. I think he may have left. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on something not on today's agenda? No speakers.
Okay, so with that, then we'll conclude today's hearing.